What's good with YouTube? You already know Big Flacco with a convict's perspective. I'm gonna smash, dash, slide on through that little bit of energy. What's cracking, everybody? I hope you guys all had a positive morning, inspirational weekend, and you're back on the grind, man. Before we start this video, please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all things to help support this channel. Hit that bell notification, as well as I'm gonna be posting a link once again. We're gonna be raffling off a pair of shoes, a pair of 9 Jordans. Man, they're the off. What is it? The off retro, whatever fives. Man, I have a posted link, right? They're like $500 shoes, size 9, and then we have some Yeezys. Almost said young Jeezys. Yeezys, 7,000 V3s or 700 V3s. Another expensive pair of shoes, man. So get those raffle tickets in, man. Looking for the community post, $10 a ticket. Now we're gonna be talking about an NF member, Mark Rodriguez, Caja, former NF member. Okay, and we're gonna talk about a situation that happened with him and when I was present, to where he was doing some things that you're gonna see were real questionable, were red flags, but there was nothing we could do about it, man. Let you guys know a little bit about Gaha. Gaha is originally from Meadow Fair, San Jose. Um, been an NF member sometime in the 90s. I think he was in the same block. I want to say C2 or C4 back in the days. Um, I think he was recruited by Skip, as a matter of fact, at one time, right? Now, the interesting thing about this individual is during Operation Black Widow, there was a time period where he was under investigation. He was supposed to conduct a lot of different business out there on the streets. Him and a lot of carnals were out there around the same time, Dancing Bear and so forth, right? And he made a lot of decisions on a lot of people where he took personal issues with, right? One individual being, the homeboy fucking Gilbert from San Jose, who he deemed no good for testifying in grand jury testimonies when he was subpoenaed, saying that he made improper statements. It was basically a weak case, but it was personal between Gilbert and fucking Gaha. Chuku ended up clearing Gilbert later on after fucking Gaha fell off, right? But there's a lot of decisions like that were being made, man, and this was questionable behavior. So when he got there to San Quentin, he got there before Dancing Bear, right? And I remember Weechel was there; they were communicating and whatnot. I think Caja was in 401. I think Dancing Bear was in 402. Weechel was in 415, and then I was in 418. And then Half Dead was in 413. So we're all right there in the same tier. You know what I'm saying? And Weechel ended up leaving, and somehow Caja was coming to the yard, and he overtook position. Now, me and Caja, we naturally clicked up at first. You know what I'm saying? He had given me information as far as a debt that was owed out there in the streets to someone out there from my neighborhood that was on the fourth floor with him, and he sent me out there to collect that debt. I took care of that. When I got out, I ended up taking care of it. We ended up getting half of it. Then he sent me out there with some stuff to get some shirts from his mom. They were bomber shirts. You know what I'm saying? But all this information he gave me weeks before, you know what I'm saying, as we're taking laps, me, him, and the Gonzo from Livermore. And Gonzo never functioned on the streets at all yet. So, we were talking about what to do out there in the streets and whatnot. And I was going to help Gonzo on a lot of things, which I ended up helping Gonzo, you know what I'm saying, when I got out there. So, Gaha's behavior started to get a little bit questionable. And me and him got along hella cool, but there were some things that I noticed one day that started to raise red flags, man. And one of those being that I went to a visit, and see, not many people get visits in San Quentin reception because it's a reception center. But I did. I used to get visits when I was in the hole, and so he didn't know I went to a visit, right? So I go to a visit during yard, okay. And when I'm coming back, I'm going through by East Block and God had been trying to go to fucking East Block for a minute, right? Because at that time in East Block, you had a lot more access to death row and different items. It was a place where everybody wanted to go. So when I'm coming back, I look and see in the sergeant office, and I see Caja in there with a fucking sergeant looking at something like with a paper like that. And I'm like, I do a double take and shit. He looks up and he looks spooked. Next thing you know, Caja comes up to my motherfucking cell, right? And he stops, see, lets him talk to me. And he goes, hey man, he goes, they just wanted to talk to me about why I wanted to move to fucking East Block. That's all. They just pulled me in there real quick. And I just told him that, hey man, woo, woo, woo. I could tell the demeanor was fucking, he was spooked because at that time, I was plugged in on the streets. as well as I was plugged in with fucking brass at that time. So I could always go fuck. I could report this as soon as I get out. He knows that. You know what I'm saying? And so he was fucking basically fucking all fucking kind of spooked. I could just tell. But I didn't think nothing of it. I go, fuck, man, what am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So next yard, his behavior just started to be like he just started to be an asshole to certain homeboys a little bit, man. This is about a week before I was to go home. But he was still being cool with me. And when I was there, I started to see some shit. He was over there. We used to bring a pouch of tobacco for the yard for all the homeboys and pass them out to different homeboys who smoked. And so I'm observing everything, and the same half, more than half the tobacco that was supposed to be for fucking the yard for homeboys that are, making sacrifices, putting in work. It's supposed to be for everybody out there. He's giving farajos to the dropouts that are right there in the cages, and he's chopping it up with them. And he's doesn't have a security post on him, right? You're supposed to technically have a fucking post behind you, and he's telling the homeboys don't worry about it. So fucking everybody seen his actions. They knew I told like one other homeboy about what I seen. And so a bunch of hermanos got into a fucking circle, and there was discussions about what we're gonna do with Caja, because you could tell that he was going down the path of fucking dropping out. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of people that wanted to have him hit, but then me, I think it was Half Dead, and I forget who else sat there and said, "Nah, we can't hit this dude, man, because if we do, we'll get deemed no good." Every hermano on this yard will get deemed no good for hitting them. You know what I'm saying? I go when I get out there, I'll report all this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll make sure that everything that he did, the questionable actions, if anything, they're gonna investigate, put him on freeze. I just need to make sure that you guys back my play on this. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna go out there and report this and have you guys change your story. You guys have to stick to the story. I will go fucking word for word, everything, who was here, what we seen, right? Sure enough, everything occurred. I get out. Now I plug in with his mom off top, pick up some shirts, and I plug in and get that debt. The debt was owed to fucking Lencho's stepdaughter, boyfriend at the time, and a homeboy from out there in my neighborhood owed the money. So I sent some homeboys, fucking one homeboy from the south side, Shorty, and I sent the other homeboy from 12th Street to go collect it. They went and collected it. So I'm thinking, okay, I got half this money. We give half the money. The money was supposed to go, half of it was supposed to go to fucking was supposed to go to the person who knew the money was owed to. A quarter of it I get from my pocket, and the quarter of it was going to go to the O, and it was going to be on behalf of myself and fuck God submitting that money. So I waited on that, and I ended up submitting it just fucking based upon the fact that this was money that was attributed on my behalf, because within a week's time frame, fucking I get word from fucking I want to say it was either a boxer. I know Gonzo was one of the ones that told me that day. Gonzo, and I think fucking Smokey from Salinas told me. And they said that fucking God is all bad now. And so fucking from there, fucking I cut all ties. You know what I'm saying? It didn't surprise me because I reported everything that happened when I got out and stuff. And I think at that time, um, I don't know who Salinas was reporting to, but I reported it to Salas, to the regiment and shit. And sure enough, a week later, he fucking dropped out. So I think that based upon the fact that either they questioned him on what I said, right? Or he was already planning this. Like I said, he did a lot of damage to the fucking household. You know what I'm saying? And then there was rumors afterwards that he was associated with New Flowers and whatnot, man. But he pretty much disappeared. Now, I like how he was cool. But what he did, the way he did it was scandalous though, man. You know what I'm saying? He was basically knew that nobody could do nothing there. Dancing Bear was on walk alone, right? Nobody wanted to bring this to Dancing Bear's attention because Dancing Bear fucking was on freeze for fucking ever his damn self at that time. So there was no outlet to report all this shit, man. So I was the only outlet that could sit there and report. And no, he didn't want to change his tune and say, "Oh, don't plug in and get these shirts from my mom," or "Don't collect this debt," because if he did, then it'd be a red flag. You know what I'm saying? And basically, that's what occurred, man. So basically, we had a dude that was dropping out right in front of us, but there was nothing we could do because that decision has to come from fucking the NF, the organization at that time. And many of us, like Half Dead and myself, we were educated, but we were still young as far as when it came to the political scheme of things when it came to old business. You know what I mean? And we didn't want to overstep our boundaries. So Gaha got over. You know what I'm saying? He was able to infiltrate the casa, able to fuck shit up, go into debt, do all this scandalous shit. and then drop out. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we would have hit them like some other brothers wanted to because they were not as educated, we would have got deemed no good. Even if we were in the right, we would have got deemed no good. That's the fucked up thing about it. You can't raise your hand towards a carnal unless you've been properly authorized to do so. And in this case, it wasn't. And I never ran into anything like this ever again, man. You know what I'm saying? This was one of those rare times, you know what I'm saying, where, you know, someone of leadership position was upholding the household that was of status where they fucking drop out. And so he knew everybody's cha-cha. He knew fucking what everybody was doing, who was going to the streets. He knew all that. He wanted all the information too, man. There were certain things that he tried to sit there and pry towards me when we talked about the San Jose regiment. I wouldn't expose none of it. And so I think that kind of made him a little bit worried as well, knowing he was asking these questions, man. And at that time, let me see, you had shit, because Richo was from Metal Fair, Goose was from Metal Fair. So you had three Carnales that were active. And I think within that fucking year, that were from Metal Fair. Within that year, they all ended up no good. All within that year. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, this is a quick spiel, man. Um, these type of situations happen, man. And it's unfortunate that because of someone's status, you can sit there and see actions that are fucking renegade, degenerate, fucking bandito, which means they're driving off the hint, they sweat blood. You can witness all this fucking negative shit, and you can't do shit about it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing like in when I was in Solano when Tito had the Llaves there, right? Tito built himself up to be something he wasn't. He made all these people in that yard believe like he'd been a shock car for years, that he had killed an MA member before, and that he used to work for the fucking Carnales, and that he was part of Little Unity, and they were being trained to be baby Carnales, and all this crazy shit, man, that people actually believed it. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until later, till it was all exposed, that you realized that half of what this dude was saying was fucking bullshit. That he'd only been a head mono for like maybe 3 or 4 years before he got deemed. You know what I'm saying? So it was a crafty time in the system with individuals, man. You would see people try to come in there and infiltrate houses back then, bro. And it was very rare that someone could come to a place like San Quentin and infiltrate that household. With that said, this is your boy Flacco Convicts Perspective. Hope y'all had a good one.